Game over. It is game over.
Game over, cancer. I'm Val Solomon, Director of Program Impact at Cannonball Kids Cancer Foundation.
And I'm Dana Nichols, Executive Director of CKC.
Game Over, Cancer, a podcast dedicated to exploring conversations about pediatric cancer research, solutions, and inspiring family stories.
We're a nonprofit dedicated to creating innovative treatment options for kids fighting cancer and educating for change.
By creating a space for these conversations, we empower the community to take action and provide tangible hope.
Game over, cancer. Screw you, cancer.
So today's episode is all about being relentless. We're going to speak today with a pediatric cancer survivor, and she'll talk about how relentless multiple diseases have been in her life and how relentless her fight has been as well. And if you need a reason to figure out how to sustain yourself in this fight, I feel like her story is it.
This is an incredible person who's dealt with and fought more fights than any one human should have to. And today is just 21. She's incredibly bright. She's looking forward to her future in the medical field. And she is still taking every day with such grace and courage. We're really glad and excited that you get to hear from her and that we get to be part of the next part of her story.
That's right. Take a listen. Our guest today is here to talk about her experience with cancer. She was diagnosed with a brain cancer, GBM, at age 4, and then with osteosarcoma at age 13. And then with a different osteosarcoma 2 years ago during her first year of college. She's been a patient of one of our good buddies, CKC-funded researcher Dr. Jonathan Metz, since 2023. She's in her third year at USF, majoring in biology. She's pre-med with the goal of being an anesthesiologist. She currently works as an anesthesiology technician at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, where she received her cancer treatment. Please welcome the wonderful Miss Tayler Ellison. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're very excited to chat
We
with
are
you
so
today.
glad you're here. Thank you.
And thanks for making the drive up to Orlando.
Of course.
Yeah, that was nice too.
I wondered if you could start by telling our audience a little bit about, the cancers that you've had, your earliest memory of treatment, just anywhere you want to go with, your experience with cancer treatments.
Yeah, of course. Well, my first diagnosis, like you said, was when I was 4 years old with a grade 4 GBM. My earliest memory, honestly, would be playing My Littlest Pet Shop in the hospital bed. I remember I got a little doctor set of My Littlest Pet Shop. So I had like the little animals in the x-ray machine. It was fun. Honestly, from that diagnosis, there isn't a whole lot I remember just because I was very young. But I have heard a lot of things from my parents and what has happened. I know that it was very hard for them as well. And although I don't remember, I do think it was extremely hard, probably the hardest diagnosis I had.
Yeah.
And then about, what was that, 9 years after that? 8 years afterwards, when I was in 7th grade, I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma. I actually started feeling like a numbness in my jaw. And then at first we weren't sure what it was. We thought it was just something like a pinched nerve or something. And then the numbness kind of spread, and then we decided to do an MRI and a biopsy, which led to the official diagnosis of osteosarcoma. And then that treatment, I was older, so I do remember a lot more from that one. I was treated at Children's Hospital in Colorado. What else? I do remember I actually continued classes while in the hospital.
Oh, really?
I had a teacher an at-home teacher who would help me through all my classes, and I had her throughout my entire treatment, which was about a year long. And I actually was able to finish middle school earlier.
Really?
Through that.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We're going to overachieve.
We're going to overachieve during cancer
Tayler.
treatment. All right. Setting the stage for the rest of the story, I think. Okay.
And then, of course, the most recent diagnosis was in 2023, and that one was a second osteosarcoma, and it actually presented very similarly as the first one. It was also in my jaw. The first one was on the right side. The second one was on the left side, actually, but they were two separate. They're the same cancer, but they interacted and responded differently.
Okay.
And it was not considered a relapse. They were completely separate. And they were also at that time, another like 5 years apart, something like that. So completely separate. And that one, I was in my second semester of college at USF. I had to completely change my schedule and my routine because I was living at the dorms. I had friends. I was going to the beach, you know, the college life. And I had to, unfortunately, let go of that. And I started going to Johns Hopkins All Children's, which is where I met Dr. Metz. He's amazing, by the way. And then for that one, I also continued courses through USF online in the hospital. And I ended up passing all of my classes with a 4.0 GPA. Yes.
Wow.
Just to interrupt you really quickly, what's your excuse?
Me specifically, or the whole audience?
Any of us, really. What are our excuses? Okay, sorry, Tayler. Go ahead. Continue.
No, you're good. Yeah, it was definitely difficult to continue classes. I'm very thankful for my professors allowing me to continue them online. They were very accommodating. I took my final exam in my chemistry class while hooked up to chemo.
I feel like at that point you should just get an automatic A. Like, this girl understands more about chemistry than anybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a lot. That's a long time. And you were very accommodating to bring your beads that kind of visually illustrate what you're talking about, like what encompasses those three very different experiences with cancer treatment. So can you maybe walk through some of the things that are laid out for our listeners?
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, then you can see she's got a big pile of strands of beads in front of her. And then there's also 2 additional hanging behind. So you could see that. But if you are listening, just as a quick description, there's a lot of beads. I think when we were prepping, what I called them was a ton of beads. So there's a lot of beads. Lots of different colors. It's 2026. We're just saying anything we want to say.
Okay.
But there's a lot of beads around Tayler right now. And she's going to kind of walk us through what the different colors are, what they mean, why they're grouped the way they are.
So the first set of beads that some of you may see in front of me, these are from my most recent treatment in 2023. And then the 2 behind me, the one to my left, is my very first treatment from the GBM. I don't know how well they can see, but
yeah.
And then the one to my right is from 2018. And the ones right here are special beads. These are my survivor beads. Each time I completed treatment, I received a heart. And then if you can see the beads, there are lots of different colors, and each color actually represents a different treatment. So this one is yellow. The yellow ones represent every time I stayed the night in the hospital. I have tons of them in here and additional ones back behind me. Another color that I can see is black. Black is probably the one I have the majority of, besides white, and I'll talk about white as well. Black ones are needle sticks. So every time I got an IV, a shot, central line access, blood draws, those were all black beads. And the white ones, which I don't know if you can kind of see the white ones. Oh, here's a strand.
Yeah.
The white ones were chemotherapy. And those two I probably have the most of.
I see a lot of blue.
Yes.
What is? Do you remember what the blue?
So there are different shades of blue.
Oh, okay.
And
that's a loaded question. I didn't realize.
Unfortunately, they all mean something different.
Okay. All right.
The light blue, which are actually different than these blue you see right here. So these light blue are mouth care. Because my treatment was in my mandible. I had a lot of mouth care. I had to do a lot of special kind of treatments along with my mouth. So these light blue would be mouth care. These kind of darker blue are, maybe I can remember. I might not remember what these are.
That's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
But then these darker blue are clinic visits. So every time I was admitted to the hospital, I would receive a dark blue bead. And then, what's another fun color? I do have rainbow.
Yeah, what's the rainbow?
Rainbow beads are therapies. So physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. I have done all three of those. Physical therapy, they kind of reconstructed my mandible using my fibula for my leg.
Wow. Okay.
And they did that for both treatments of osteosarcoma. So I did a lot of physical treatment, relearning how to walk and balance without a fibula. And then occupational therapy and speech therapy I also did as well to kind of make life more normal. But yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing those and sharing that with our audience. I think it's probably one of the best visuals, like to kind of see a little bit about a lot of what we're talking about. We say someone's been treated 3 separate times for 3 separate cancers. What does that look like? I think it gives such a meaningful, like, visual understanding for people who don't really know what that really looks like or the experiences.
And this is through Beads of Courage program. So certainly if people are wanting to learn more about that or learn more about what all the different ones and things mean, you can go you can Google that. But I think what's incredible and is just how in it for the long haul you have to be a child in treatment, like to see this many hospital stays, to see this many beads is so much. This is from when you're older, but to know 3 times of going through that, the amount of resiliency you have to keep going back and to even say, yeah, I want the beads, I want to keep stringing some beads, seems like more than most of us comprehend, I think.
So as you've kind of shared a little bit, started talking about, you've had cancer as a child, as a teen, and then as a young adult.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned you don't really remember a whole lot from the first go, but I wondered if you could talk a little bit about like the difference between, facing the treatments and the cancer at different points in your life and in your as you've been growing up.
Yeah, of course. Being a younger child when I was 4, I know I said I don't remember a whole lot, but I think looking back at it, that one, because I was so young, I didn't really understand and fully comprehend what was going on. I just kind of was in it. I do remember having a really hard time, though, because I couldn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand why I was sick, why I was in the hospital while other kids my age were out playing on playgrounds, and I couldn't do that. From being a teenager, preteen, that one, sorry. That one, I think I didn't fully comprehend, but it was definitely a lot more so than when I was 4. When I was 13, I think I understood what was happening, why it was happening, and what everything was. But I think the struggle with that one was, why was I doing this again? And same kind of thing when I was 4. Why do I see, my friends in middle school and becoming teenagers, and I'm here again?
Yeah.
And then, of course, from my most recent one, being a younger adult, and even now as I continue, I think that one was probably the most different from the prior 2 treatments. That one, I feel like, being my age and being, unfortunately, well-versed with the hospital and what was going on, that one, I feel like I fully comprehended why I was there, what was going on, how this came to be. I think similarly with the other 2, I didn't really understand why, again, especially being my first year of college, and, I had to drop the college life. And I think those 3 shared that kind of question as to why. I think it was a very different perspective of why at each age. I think when I was 4, it was like I didn't understand anything. I just didn't know why I was there. When I was 13, I kind of understood it, but I didn't really understand why, why did it have to happen again? And then when I was 18, I think, honestly, I was kind of annoyed at that point. Like, why does this keep happening? I'm frustrated. And then, that's also been part of my ongoing treatment. I'm currently in remission for about 1.5 years now.
Awesome.
But I think long-term treatment-wise in remission, we are figuring out the why and the how. And that has a lot of, that has to do with a lot of genetics and genetic testing. It was not hereditary, though, surprisingly. We actually semi-recently found out I do have a disorder called Li-Fraumeni syndrome.
Okay.
It's a very rare syndrome. It is not hereditary. Well, I take that back. It is hereditary, but in my case, I have mosaic Li-Fraumeni, which means mine is not hereditary.
Okay.
And that is a predisposition to cancer, which means I'm just very highly sensitive, and just my genetic makeup does not have the same protection against cancer as the typical person. But yeah.
Does having that information and knowledge help with, what you've struggled with periodically as you've knowing why? Has that been helpful?
I think it's definitely been helpful for me to kind of prepare for the future or kind of modify my lifestyle.
Mhm.
Like, I don't, what's an example? I don't know an example. Just kind of modify into a healthier lifestyle. Obviously.
Knowing that you're able to be out of treatment right now, looking, as you say, like looking how your whole life is impacted. But one thing you said was about having your college experience. And I'm wondering what that looks like now. Are you able to move forward in pieces of a college experience that feels right for you now?
I think being a year and a half away from treatment, I think I am more so experiencing the college lifestyle than I was before. I think there are still some struggles that I'm learning to overcome. But I think I'm definitely getting back into it.
Okay, so getting back into it, like what are we into? What's fun? What's cool?
Yeah, how do you step out of the cancer world?
Yeah, how do you get out of cancer
you work
world?
at the hospital now,
Yeah,
which we'll talk about that in a second.
Yes. We're going there for appointments. We're working.
Yeah.
We're in science class.
Yeah.
What's left after that?
Yeah.
That's not cancer.
After that, well, I mean, I am still in remission, so I do still have continuous treatment, and that will continue forever. But I do have a life outside of cancer, and I think that involves, I do really enjoy studying at school. It's a lot, but I do enjoy being back at school. I enjoy being able to hang out with friends, hang out with my family. I do a lot of art as well. Don't know how good at it I am, but
I don't know. I saw one of yours. I thought it was pretty.
Well,
I liked
thank
it.
you.
Yeah. Also, so not the point.
Also,
like
it's
the
for
point
you.
is to do it for you. Yeah.
But I liked it. So
Good.
But
What's your favorite medium in art?
Ooh, I really like painting,
Cool.
but I think it's a little messy.
Yeah.
I also do a lot of pencil and paper kind of thing, drawing.
Yeah.
I think I mostly stick to that, but I do really enjoy painting.
And what types of things do you like to draw or paint?
Drawing, I draw a lot of flowers. I'm pretty good at drawing flowers, I would say.
Yeah.
But I think flowers to me represent kind of a hope and a new beginning, new blossoming. And I think I really enjoy drawing that kind of thing. I also draw a lot of like nature, like sunsets and oceans and all that. What else do I draw? It's been a minute. I've been so busy
you gotta
at
find
school.
some time.
Oh my goodness. I used to play the cello.
Okay.
So I do draw a lot of music and music type things.
Very
Sounds
cool.
like very peaceful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, relaxing
That's great.
topic, but also like practice, right?
Yeah.
So we mentioned it a little bit in the intro, and I think you mentioned it too, but we have a common buddy in Dr. Metz. So Dr. Metz is a CKC-funded researcher. And a lot of our spoken at an event, attended some of our events, has been on the podcast. But what what I love about, the type of doctor that we fund through CKC is we have doctors who are in clinic with the patients, but also running their clinical trials. So you have someone who is dedicated both to, providing treatment now, but also developing better treatments for the future. So we love all of our researchers. Dr. Metz is fantastic. Tell us what he's like as your actual doctor, though, because we talked to him and he's a CKC funded researcher.
He's
What's
great.
he like as a doctor?
Metz is amazing. He is very understanding from where I come from. I think my experience has been a lot different than other patients he's had, but I think he really dedicates his time to each individual patient. For me, at least, he was able to change my whole treatment regimen to something that I could take instead of the typical treatment which others might take. I unfortunately can't do that route. And he was able to change the entire course and accommodate to me.
That's great.
We knew it, right? Glad to hear.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I know that you were telling us before too, when you transition from being a teen to a young adult, to be a fully fledged adult, now he's also been able to stick with you. And that must be very helpful when it's so overwhelming to be in this space, regardless of how long you're here.
Yep. I have been with Metz for 3 years now. And I met him through All Children's Hospital. And now I am 21, so I am moving to a different hospital now. And I'm very lucky to have him also be my oncologist at that hospital as well. So I can continue seeing him, which really gets rid of a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Oncology, as everyone knows, I'm sure, is a very stressful environment. And I think being able to stay with the same doctor that you know and that has taken care of you and they know you is very beneficial.
Absolutely.
And so you talk about the stress associated with that, the continuity of care that provides, being able to have your doctor stay with you. What is that like? What would be a worry you had if you had to switch to a doctor, but that you don't have because you were able to stay with Dr. Metz?
I think if I had to switch to a different doctor, it would be one word, just stressful. I think not because of anything bad, but because, it's a new doctor. They don't really know me completely. I don't really know them completely. So being able to have that personal connection with the same doctor.
Yeah. One
really
less
great.
Worry.
Exactly.
That's what we need.
Yeah. And I think for you, who has a long history, not having to restart every time is probably a burden eased as well. Yeah. Well, we've touched on that Taylor's in college. So and we keep talking about it, but then you're in college pre-med. Do you want to tell us a little bit about pursuing a medical degree?
Of course. So I am, as you said, bio-pre-med route. I am studying with the hopes of becoming an anesthesiologist. And I think the reason why is because I've had a lot of experience just in the medical field, and I think anesthesia and the surgery realm is almost the core of not just cancer treatment, but everything.
Yeah, I think it's such a huge endeavor. Well, being a doctor sounds hard regardless, right? We're all going to agree there. But what a huge endeavor for you to take on when you're a person who still is going, in and out of the doctor so much. What draws you to a place where you've already had to be forcibly for a long time?
Right. Not just any hospital, right? You're working at the hospital where you had treatment too. So I think the other piece to that is there any type of PTSD from going there that you have to get over, or what does that look like?
I think it's very, honestly, for me, I think it's very cool to be back because I'm so used to coming in and being a patient and having to go through, all the process of stress and overwhelming and, just why am I here? And I think going from such a negative part of the hospital to the opposite and being able to be the one to help people is really cool for me. I think I really enjoy the change from being the one who needed help to the one helping. So
it's empowering, stepping in a different role.
Yeah.
Is what I hear. Cool.
Also, how much of a factor choice is, that it's your choice to walk through those doors and be part of this is part of the empowerment or part of what makes it a calling for you. I love that.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Do you find ways to kind of center yourself or make it a little easier with, just in general, you got a lot going on. We got school, we got, life, we got all the things, we got jobs. How do you you talked about wanting to be living a healthier life. So what does that look like though?
I think normalcy is my definition of a healthier life. I think having a positive outlook, not being stuck in cancer. I think being able to embrace that I made it out and being able to, being able to do the things I'm doing, being able to go back to school, being able to get a job, being able to do all those things, I think is my definition of healthy. It's just returning back to normal and not having the constant stress about cancer treatment.
I love it. I think maybe our final sort of wrapping up question would be, if there are people listening who that don't really have a first-hand knowledge about pediatric cancer, what is something that you would want somebody, this is their first time they've ever heard of CKC and they're tuning in and they're hearing this, what would you like to tell people, the one thing you think they should know about pediatric cancer?
I think, I know I said, it's important to live in the now and not always be in the cancer realm. Unfortunately, although I love doing everything except for worrying about that, unfortunately, cancer treatment very often is ongoing, especially pediatric cancer. It is almost lifelong, even if we are not currently in treatment and receiving chemo, radiation, etc. There is a lifelong commitment, and there are many unfortunate side effects. I myself have a lot of side effects from each different diagnosis. I've had different side effects. From my very first diagnosis, I actually became deaf out of my right ear. So I don't have hearing out of my right ear. From my second diagnosis and also my third, I've definitely had to deal with trying to learn how to eat again because it was my jaw. And just the ongoing, the pain from surgery and having to deal with, just ongoing problems. And they can be the most random problems, but unfortunately, it is a lifelong thing, even if we're not actively getting treatment or actively in the hospital. And I think the fear And unfortunate thing is, not just for me, but for many other kids, is a lot of the times due to our current treatment options, cancer can always come back. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, as you can see, I have had that happen a lot. And unfortunately, that is a fear of mine that will always be there. I mean, unfortunately, being having the predisposition as well, I think I will always have that possibility. Whether I think about it or not, it truly is a possibility that it could come back. Mm-hmm. It could be, 50 years from now, or it could be never, but it's always there.
Thank you so much for sharing about yourself and your life. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so important that people understand why we talk about this problem of pediatric cancer and just how deep the problem goes for each individual facing and fighting. So we're really grateful you're here today with us, and we're just glad you're here with us. The reason CKC invests in innovative research is to make treatments easier on people, on kids like Tayler who become adults like Tayler. If you want to support the research, you can make a gift on our website, cannonballkidscancer.org.
That's right. And we want to thank you for joining and listening for our Game Over Cancer podcast. Encourage you to leave a review. But really, the big ask here is please share this episode. I mean, I think we heard a perspective that I know we've not covered on the podcast before, just another layer of the reality of pediatric cancer. So please share this so everyone can have an understanding of what it is that we're fighting and why it's so important that we don't give up.
Absolutely. So thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you joining us and making a commitment to be part of our fight. I'm Dana Nichols.
I'm Val Solomon.
And until next time, we will see you later.
Join us as we transform fear into courage and turn adversity into opportunities for change.
If you want to be involved in the conversations that create change in the world of pediatric cancer, take a moment, share, like, and subscribe.